interesting times, a long way to go. We've got an intriguing title race. I think it was good for Arsenal. They needed a good weekend. They needed a good weekend because of what had happened in the last. They've conceded 10 goals, Arsenal, in the last 6 games. And I would say they need to stop conceding goals, because one of the traits on a run-in is that if you're conceding goals and teams feel like they have a chance, it's very difficult to win a league.
Gary Neville raises a very, very interesting point here in relation to Arsenal. They have become more leaky and a bit more fragile in recent weeks in the Premier League. There's no doubt about it. That has happened. It's a fact. But is it being over-indexed? Is it being over-focused on? We're at the end of an epic weekend of Premier League football, which sees Arsenal have the opportunity to go 5 points clear again if they win their game in hand. It was a brilliant weekend for them, no doubt. But are we overanalyzing this wobble from Arsenal and ignoring the body of work this season, the improvements actually over the last 2 years? Is that all being ignored? And are we boiling down the title race to this wobble? Because if we look over this last 3 or 4 games, you also have to focus on City, who have also lost games, who have also conceded goals, who have also in many games not been clinical in front of goal. And that's why, for me, I think focusing on Arsenal's negativities and saying that that's why they won't win the league is wrong. You can predict they're not going to win the league. I think that's absolutely fair. But it isn't just a case of, well, if Arsenal don't stop conceding, they're not winning the league. There are holes in this City team as well. But I certainly think Arsenal getting back to being defensively sure and dominating games is needed.
It is. It's very difficult to win a league. So they just need to watch that. I think it'll give them confidence coming out of this weekend. They can go 5 points clear again with their game in hand if they win it.
He is so right with that.
And if they can just think about in this next week, in this next period, getting back to clean sheets, really important. Obviously, Partey not playing, they miss. But they have conceded 10 in the last 6, and that's something that just needs to be watched for them, because that will become very difficult for them. But for City, they're still giving Arsenal a big chance because they're not playing at the best. They're being sloppy in front of the goal, and they still look vulnerable themselves at the back.
But listen, he's right. City do still look vulnerable, but they're not giving Arsenal a chance. Arsenal are seizing the chance. That's the bullshit sandwich that I don't like. Playing down Arsenal's achievements, their points total, their wins, their comebacks, as you wouldn't be doing it if City were better. You could essentially apply that logic to everybody. City have only won 4 of the last 5 league titles because nobody's been better than them. I mean that, I don't know. That is what being champions is about. For me.
Fortunately, I did a video yesterday talking about this, and I said, people are saying Arsenal have fell off and they've bottled it, and they're exceeding expectation, Arsenal. They are. Like Manchester United, we're exceeding expectation. We weren't really expected to get top 4, considering how bad we were last year. And the same with Arsenal. And people are saying, that typical Arsenal, they're bottling it. And a lot of that is down to banter. But Arsenal should not be mixing it up with Man City at the top of the league. I mean, they shouldn't be. And no Partey today. They really miss him. And Nketiah has done a great job for Arsenal in the absence of Jesus, but week in, week out, he's clearly not good enough. We saw it against Man City. There was 2 goals there he didn't get. 2-2 today's through 1-on-1, he misses that. In these sort of games, at that sort of level, they miss a top striker. They miss Jesus. And yet, and Odegaard missed a sitter as well. So it looked like it was running away from Arsenal. But to still go and win it, that will do them wonders.
Goldbridge is spot on in everything he said there. Arsenal are overachieving, and that shouldn't be played down, shouldn't be ignored, and shouldn't be something that's brushed under the carpet. Man United are overachieving this year as well. People were saying 10th, 8th, 7th, top 6 at best for Man United. I got bantered at the start of the season that I wouldn't even be able to be on my own top 6 show anymore because Man United would be out of it come next season. And I think that in terms of Arsenal's title push goes on, is being brushed under the carpet, is being ignored. Everybody expects them to bottle it. And look, I don't even think being 2 points clear now and losing out on the league title is bottling it. If they finish 15 points off the top of the league by the end of the season, then you've got a point because they've allowed their form to completely drop off under pressure. But I think Goldbridge is being really fair there. Fairer, more fair, really, than the professional pundits out there. Let's take a little listen to what Rory Jennings had to say.
Were sensational, and Arsenal Football Club are top of the league. And that matters. It's symbolic. It's a statement. It puts pressure on Manchester City as they go away to Nottingham Forest now. So it really does matter. And
And look, Rory was right. It literally did put pressure on City. They fluffed their lines and they dropped points.
today was simply amazing from Arsenal. Prior to the game, everything I said about this game was Arteta needs to find a way. This isn't about anything other than accruing the 3 points. It's not about the performance. It's not about the individuals. It's not about the philosophy. It's not about the build. It's not about the process. It's not about nothing. Win the game. Win the game and find a way to win the game.
And do you know what? Actually, I'll let Rory finish what he was saying. Sorry.
That is all that Mikel Arteta had to do today. He had to come up.
And he's spot on. And he's spot on. The only reason that I interjected is I wanted to hear that last few words there. He's right. He's spot on. He's completely accurate. There's still, what, 15, 16 games left for Arsenal. They need to get back to sustainable performances to win the league. But there will be games, there will be moments where just winning is important. This weekend was a prime example. After no winning 3, after losing your top spot to City, you had to win the game by hook or by crook. Had to be done. The next couple of games, performances will be key. But the game in hand over Everton, doesn't matter how you play, win it. There may be a game in 5 matches, 6 matches, 7 matches time where City play first and drop points, and Arsenal play afterwards with an opportunity to extend their league. Performance in that game will not be important. It will be about getting the 3 points. That is what title pushes are about. And there are certain games and there are certain moments, there are certain performances where or certain games where the performance isn't key. Winning and getting the 3 points is, and they are those gateway moments. They're those breakthrough moments so you become champions. And I have been a little bit disappointed with the mainstream media who have kind of played down, Arsenal weren't very good still. They conceded too many chances. They weren't at the races. That's a bad sign moving forward. The disingenuous nature of that is crazy because these pundits are kind of poorly educating the football world. That isn't how title pushes are done. That isn't how winning titles is done, and hasn't been, at least in my lifetime. They're also the same pundits that said in the build-up to this game, Arsenal need to win by any way imaginable. They win it but they win it, and then suddenly they're playing down how they did it. You've got to look through that biased nature. And I get this banter, and Goldbridge said it earlier on the show. There is definitely banter involved, but at the same time, you've got to give credit where credit is due. And I think Arsenal this weekend have, as you see there by Rory, Chelsea fan, Goldbridge is an Arsenal fan. They know this team are legitimately the real deal.
It's just okay that he's been bang average and Chelsea are 10th. Chelsea are 10th. It's unheard of. It was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer or anyone else, who was in a big club, in a big job, there'd be, see you later, get out. Tottenham sacked Nuno Espirito Santo. He got manager of the month. And they got rid of him. Come on. I know he's English and I want him to do well, but this ain't good enough. This is Chelsea Football Club, are used to winning everything week in, week out. They're 10th in the table.
I have to say, Jamie O'Hara is spot on with this one. I'm someone that was woken up this week to it. This weekend, I changed my mind, put my hands up, said I've been wrong about Graham Potter. The lack of performance, the lack of energy, the lack of perseverance, the lack of fight in this Chelsea team is unacceptable. And remember, the running and the working and the fight and the perseverance, that's a baseline. That is a baseline that at no point should be excused for not being there. It isn't there. Half the squad ain't fighting. They look bored. They look uninspired. It looks like a kickabout with friends. But when you ever gone for a kickabout in the park and you might be 4 or 5 hours in, it's a warm day, you're all starting to run out of water, and everyone just starts slowing down. That's how Chelsea look. And Graham Potter's a big problem. I understand why they want to get behind him and back him, but this is where some real football minds need to go knock on that door of Todd Bowley's and say, listen, we understand what you want to do, what you want to create, but we think this is a mistake. The problem is with the mistake is £50 million to get rid of him. £50 million to get rid of him. That is the real key issue here. Above and beyond everything else, that is the issue. It's going to cost about 50 million to get rid of him. can Chelsea afford to do that and then employ another top-class manager? As much as they've spread all this cost, and listen, when managers get sacked, they don't get lump sums. They just get paid their weekly wages until the end of that contract. But that's essentially £50 million that will be hemorrhaged because they're going to need to bring a new manager in, who's also probably going to ask for a big, maybe not a contract as long, but another big contract. This reminds me of the David Moyes situation, very much so at Manchester United, not just behaviourally from Graham Potter, but also from the point of view of long-term contract that Man United was still paying David Moyes after Jose Mourinho was sacked. And I'm someone that thinks that Chelsea are on the road to building something quite special with their approach, the backroom staff they're building, the board they're building. I think they'll get this right. But they're having much bigger teething problems than I anticipated. And we all learn as we go along when it comes to football and life. And I just think Jamie O'Hara is correct. I think Rory Jennings is correct. And a lot of the Chelsea pundits and ex-Chelsea legends are saying, listen, we'd love you to do well. We want Chelsea to do well. But this guy just isn't the right fit. Every game Graham Potter's here, that team's going to go backwards. And if they go into the summer on a downer, feeling crap, yes, they might be able to bring in a new manager that lifts them up. We've seen Ten Hag do that. But you're essentially writing off an entire season with what this season should now be being used to get this side fundamentally and absolutely ready to compete next year, like an extended preseason. And they're just failing. They're massively, massively failing at that, in my opinion. Now, listen, I want your thoughts and I want your feelings on Arsenal bottling the league. You've heard there from Gary Neville, Jennings, and of course the GOAT Mark Goldbridge. Heard from Jamie O'Hara and an additional voice in relation to Graham Potter. I want your thoughts and feelings on that, people, in the comment section below. Please make sure you scan the QR code and come follow our TikTok account. Exclusive content is on the way over there. But until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all soon. Thank you.